Welcome to Life Talk, a production of Maranatha Ministries, with Shoshannah Frank Rausch, a ministry director at Maranatha, and Jene Gardner, president of Phoenix Rising Counseling Services. These lifelong friends discuss the spiritual and emotional challenges that face us all. Using biblical characters and personalities, they help us see that we are not alone in any of our emotions, positive or negative, and show us how we can be more than conquerors. If you'd like to speak with either Shoshannah or Jene, you can reach them by email at lifetalk@mmchurch.com. And now be blessed by today's presentation of Life Talk.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you, Sho?
I'm doing well. All right, so we're just gonna have a nice conversation, right? Like we do every time. Mm-hmm. This time though, we actually really haven't had any discussion off camera like we normally do. So we're legit just gonna be having a nice discussion. Yeah. We did agree on what we were going to discuss. We tend to discuss things that we are currently going through. Right. As the title of this show is Life Talk. So it makes sense that we would be talking about what you or I are currently going through. Sometimes we're currently going through the same stuff at the same time. Yeah. And we got to figure there's a lot of people out there that are probably going through all the same things. Right. So today we want to discuss change. Mm-hmm. Change is a super uncomfortable process, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like change. Yeah. And the reason why we want to talk about this is we're going through change, whether it be with the church, personal life. There's just change is happening. In fact, I had a meeting. One of the changes that took place is I'm now the current music director for Maranatha, and that is extremely uncomfortable. It was extremely uncomfortable for me, absolutely out of my comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And I came to realize, and I actually said this to the church not too long ago when we were talking about worship and praise and just kind of coming out of your shell, and I made the comment that if you are comfortable, you're not where God wants you. Yes. Yeah. Because there's growth in uncomfort, in being uncomfortable, right? Yeah. So let's chat about change. Let's talk about change and kind of what it entails and then the mental health aspect of it, because mental health affects a lot of whether you can go through change. There's anxiety. Yes. Regarding change, there's you can be thrown into a depression. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different things. So we can talk about change in general, mm-hmm. and then what we can do to kind of offset, the uncomfortableness of change. Yeah.
In my experience, Show with change is that it is very anxiety provoking for a lot of people because one is that people can get into, we're human, we get into these habits and these rituals and these rhythms of just like it's comfort, like here, because I can control it. I can predict what the outcome is going to be. And so I feel safe, like in just kind of doing the same thing and sticking to this routine. But I totally agree with you that God doesn't want us to just think that our potential and everything is just right in that comfort zone, that he does want us to kind of face things and to be able to work through that, because there could be something completely great and a great opportunity or a great blessing. But I do feel that a lot of times people struggle with change is just because it's that fear of the unknown.
Absolutely.
One of those
uncharted territory.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But, I was looking, just reading some scripture and my dad's been preaching a lot on praise and worship and kind of stepping out of your comfort zone, and not conforming to the world and being a living sacrifice. And I got, part of our opening statement is, and we don't always do this every time we have an episode, is compare it to Bible characters. We did that for mental health and stuff, but in Life Talk, in the grand scheme of things, we don't always compare it to a Bible character, although we could. Yeah. But I got to thinking about change, and I'm like, so what Bible character didn't have to go through change? None of them. They all did. I started thinking of Jonah. I'm like, that dude literally jumped in the water. Like, like was running away and got swallowed by a whale for 3 days, all because he was uncomfortable doing something that was out of his comfort zone. You know, preaching the word. It was uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well,
And so,
you know, even if you think about going to the altar or even lifting your hands and sitting in church, there is a level of uncomfortability until you get used to that, especially, you know, for new people, where you can just kind of grip the seat in front of you and not really want to go forward. But when you go forward, that's like making a statement to say, God, I don't know what the outcome is going to be. I don't know, but I trust you. And I know that you have it. You have my future in your hands. You know what I need to do. But none of those individuals, even in the Bible or even people that we know currently, if you didn't, I think about like my parents, like if they would have stayed in their comfort zone, they never would have come to New York. They never would have been pastor. You know? So there is an element that we are required to be like, hey, I have to, and it's a choice. We have to make that choice to say, yes, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm going to work through it because I know that there's something great on the other side.
And I feel like, you know, start small. You know, I mean, no one's asking you to just get up and go to the next town and start a church. I'm more looking at, if you're comfortable sitting in the back pew, then maybe you need to move up a few. You know? Like if you're comfortable in the seat that you're sitting in, maybe you need to move up.
Yeah, right.
You know, like start in the little small things. If you are somebody that uses that front of your chair and holds it as a comfort for worship, guess what? Let go of the chair. Lift your hands. You know, even. You know, say that someone's watching and isn't a Christian. If you're sitting in your job and you're doing the same thing every day with no change, with no, what are you doing? How are you bettering yourself? How are you bettering your company? You're not. Change is required for growth.
Yes.
Right? Being uncomfortable is required for growth.
Absolutely. And that's interesting because I'm actually reading this, like for the second time, I'm reading this book. It's called Atomic Habits. Have you ever... Yeah,
I've heard it. I have not read it. No.
Okay. Amazing book. I would highly recommend it for anybody who's looking to make some changes in their habits and in their lifestyle. And not from, I mean, this could be applied to like the Christian, like as well. But even if it is just kind of trying to get out of that monotony of life and just that routine of saying, hey, if you go to the same coffee shop every day, change it up. Go to a different coffee shop and just experience that newness because there is a sense of refreshing and just this, it will help you with like pushing by, like through those barriers of like change is just getting comfortable in different surroundings and in different settings. If you go to the same Walmart every time to do your grocery shopping, switch it up and go to a different Walmart. You know, there's different things that you could do just to kind of help push yourself through just staying in that same habitual pattern all the time. Too.
Right. Yeah. And change can also, I mean, the change that I'm going through is a change that's actually out of my control in the sense of Ritz. You know what I mean? Like he's growing up and I told you this the other day, he's going to be 3. So he's going into pre-K in September. And just that change is just like,
oh yeah,
I don't want it to happen. You know what I mean? Like I don't want, but yet it has to in order for him to grow and him to fulfill his potential, you know? And so here I am, you know, I think I texted you the night I was filling out my big school application that I'm like, I'm having chest pain. Like I am legit sitting here having chest pain filling out my kid's school application.
Terrible. So that's so funny too, because you're right. Like, I mean, you have to, as much as we want to like protect and we want to keep them in like what we do, and then their routine and the safety of like their home environment, it is necessary for them to be able to experience and to develop like mentally. And, you know, it's so funny that you're saying that. Like my oldest keeps getting, she's in 10th grade, but she keeps getting college, like, you know, and so I'm having the opposite of like, oh my God, she's going to be leaving. And, you know, just, like, so it is, but obviously you can't just like keep her there. Like she to live her dreams.
So there's different kinds of change, you know, there's change that you have to make. And then there's change that is going to take place for somebody else that is going to affect you. And you have to, you have to just, at this point, I just trust God and I'm putting him into God's hands.
Right.
And as his mom, I'm doing everything I can. He is going into a Christian pre-K program, the program that I actually grew up in. And, so I'm making the steps and then I have to turn it over to God. And I got to say, you know what, this is 15 hours too long that he's away from me, but I got to trust that you have him.
Yes. Yep. And
so there's just different kinds of change.
Yes. And it will help you, help you too, like being able to face that. And so it's going to be good for Ritz and it's going to be good for you.
Yeah.
Time of get some 15 hours of some time just to do what you want to do during that time. Yeah. And just
that's called doing what I want to do, means getting the house back in order, since it's very impossible to do with a toddler. With a toddler home, I'm more excited that I might be able to get caught up on laundry now. So, yeah. All right. Well, this has been a good talk.
Yeah.
It's always fun getting to chat, and so we will. I don't know when our next one is. I don't know if we have any life studies or Maranatha minutes coming up, so I'm not sure when our next episode will be, but we'll see everyone when we come back. Yes. Right? All right.